which is also going to factor into the NL West race, which is where I want to go next here. The Dodgers are 2.5 games up on the Padres right now. Who would have seen that coming? That we'd be sitting here in August and it would be this wide open in that NL West. And the Diamondbacks are a game back of the Padres. So you have 3 teams within 5 games of each other right now. It really is anyone's race, even though I don't think it's ever really felt like that. But now you got to look at the standings and say, you know what? Maybe the Dodgers could actually drop and not win the NL West.
I think I said it the beginning of the year with some friends that what's more likely, the somebody else other than the Rockies finishes in 5th place, or someone other than the Dodgers finishes in 1st. And I think everyone came together and said, yeah, you know what, maybe the Giants get really, really bad and things fall apart for them. And that happens because we just couldn't have possibly seen the Dodgers scrapping like this. All right, there's 17 games over 500, but we expected them to be there in April, right? By the end of that first month of the full month of the season, they would be there, and that hasn't been the case. And they're okay, they're fine, but meanwhile, while they're just trying to get across the finish line, as you said, the Padres are there 2.5 games back. The Diamondbacks are 3.5 games back, and they're getting better and better by the day, and they're making this race incredibly interesting in the NL West, where again, you don't win that division, you are going to have to play in the first round. Some fan bases might say, hey, that's a good thing. I don't want to be on my butts for that wild card round because that hasn't fared well for those teams getting a bye. But yeah, the Dodgers have definitely had their troubles, and it's opened the door for both the Padres and the Diamondbacks here.
The Dodgers were 52-33 at the end of June. Since then, from July on, they have gone 14-17. Not terrible, but a losing record nonetheless. I got to take a second and see what the Diamondbacks have done. I know it's been a lot better, but the point stands here. You have these 2 teams who seem to be on this rocket ship up, and that's the Diamondbacks and the Padres. Teams that got better at the deadline, particularly the Padres, but even the Diamondbacks, who are also getting healthier right now. Eduardo Rodriguez making his first start, Merrill Kelly on the way back. That's going to make them that much better. And let's not forget, the Diamondbacks were in the World Series last year. And since July, they have a 22-10 record, the best mark in Major League Baseball, second best, Padres at 18-10. So those 2 teams are hot right now. How long can they continue doing this? We'll find out, but it definitely has turned into a really exciting race in the NL West.
Both Padres and Diamondbacks 8-2 over their last 10 going into the weekend series. And you said it right there. The Diamondbacks are getting back so many players. I mean, Eugenio Suarez, not totally banged up for the first half, but now he's finally heating up. It's one of those reasons why a team like the Diamondbacks were one, I think, that a lot of us had on the radar as keep your eye on them, because while they might not make a ton of moves at the deadline, they are getting back a ton of players. You could have said the same thing about the Giants in a lot of ways. Then they go off and trade Alex Cobb, and then they trade Jorge Soler to Atlanta. So they kind of lost that luster, even though Blake Snell is starting to heat up. Nevertheless, it's just, I would take the Diamondbacks over the Padres right now. I have a little bit more confidence in them to be able to do it because, as you said, they've got that World Series in their back pocket. They know what it takes to win. Torey Lovullo has done this before, whereas you can't necessarily say the same in San Diego. And Mike Schilt, it's been a while since St. Louis, since he's been able to get that thing going. So the Diamondbacks have that better track record for success late in the year, more so than this Padres team.
I'd actually push back on that a little bit, only
Do it.
because we got to remember the Padres 2022, they were very close to making the World Series themselves, getting to the NLCS. And I just wonder at some point, does it all finally come together for a San Diego team that feels like they've been knocking on the door for a while? And you look at the star power on that team, you have Manny Machado starting to really do it out there. Tatis having a good season. Jackson Merrill, one of the best rookies this year. And then Xander Bogaerts is coming back, and Bogaerts being an impact player down the stretch. Then you also put together what I think right now might be the best bullpen in baseball because of the additions that they made, where they really can shorten these games. If they get 5 innings out of their starting pitcher, let's say Matt Waldron gives them 5 and comes out with the lead, you have a bullpen that can lock down these games. What's funny is I don't know if I like the Padres more in October or not. I think it's really anybody's game, and the Diamondbacks just show the ability to get hot. But I'm starting to wonder if the Padres are the team that ends up winning this division. I think that they might just be the one that can really do it down the stretch. And I'm pretty sure they have the weakest schedule remaining, if I'm not mistaken.
Of those 3 teams.
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, they do 26th most difficult schedule. Dodgers 18th, D-backs 12th. So D-backs got some harder teams on their schedule. It's funny because you bring up 2022, not that long ago, but for the San Diego Padres, that was a long time ago. That was a lot of transactions ago
Yeah.
for AJ Preller. And of the 4 names you brought up, 3 of those 4, the only one that wasn't Manny Machado, they weren't around in 2022 on this team to experience that run to the NLCS against the Phillies. So I think that hurts them a little bit. Again, there's so much talent that it's bound to kind of pull through. It's bound to finally come to fruition. And we're seeing that now. But when things are so tight as they are right now, I would tend to give it to the team that did it in 23 versus the team that did it in 22. Bottom line is it's going to be fun watching what happens with these 3 teams and saying, hey, someone other than the Dodgers might actually win this division. We forget about the Giants winning 107 games and doing it because in my head, I'm like, oh, the Rockies were the last team to really put it to the Dodgers. They had to go to game 163 in 2018. Well, yeah, the Dodgers won 107 games. That was historic. That doesn't even count. Really, it was the Rockies in 2018. It's going to be fun to watch.